So I bet everything. What is it? Looks like towards out here. Over there, it's kind of like phenomenal. Not everything. Dr. Webber is better, in my opinion. I like Dr. Webber.
All right, y'all, we will go ahead and get started. For those of you who haven't been with us, we're covering Little G gods and the nations around you, being Mesopotamia. So this past Sunday morning, we covered an introduction to Little G gods. I thought we would take tonight to go ahead and do a double take on this because y'all are proud of me, all right? I'm not used to all this language. Listen.
Class is so good, everybody's in front.
I know. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't have Jolly Ranchers. I can't throw that. Yeah.
Put that in the budget.
Yeah, is there a budget for Jolly Ranchers?
We got some canned ranch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bottled waters.
Yeah.
All right. I thought we'd do a double take tonight on the Little G God thing. We covered a lot of ground. I want to make sure that we're all good to go with this before we move forward. So once we kind of get past this, we're going to do Little G gods Sunday morning and then Mesopotamia on Wednesday night. So I thought we'd go ahead and do a double take because Sunday morning was a little bit thick. So again, like we mentioned Sunday, if y'all have any questions or concerns, we can stop and breathe a little bit. Let me know and we can do that. So we talked about the biblical worldview, trying to get an idea of how the Israelites saw their world and their interaction with these so-called Little G gods. We covered the story so far, which is creation. God makes everything. Adam and Eve willingly decide to walk away. There's a fall and they are cast out. You get to Genesis 6, where there is a worldwide flood. God said we're hitting the reset button. He chooses one family to repopulate the whole earth. Not as soon, we don't have the time, but Noah, his family gets off the ark. He makes a vineyard, gets drunk, sin again. Then you get to Babel, Genesis chapter 11. Instead of populating the entire world and subduing it like God has asked, they've all brought the resources together and they're building a tower to try to reach him. And God says, we can't do that. We're going to confuse your languages, and then you'll be forced to go into different nations, and you'll go divide and subdue the earth in that kind of way. That's what we talked about. We got to Deuteronomy chapter 32. We're going to pick that back up there. Deuteronomy 32. And someone, when you get there, read for us verses 8 and 9. Deuteronomy 32, verses 8 and 9.
When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of man, he set the boundaries of the peoples according to the number of the sons of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the allotment of his inheritance.
This is Moses right before the Israelites get into the land of Canaan. He is sort of going back through the history to prepare for this moment. Verse 8 and 9 are referencing what event? Tower of Babel. So he's going back over. Thank you. What did you say? Babel. Ooh. If I had Jolly Rancher, you'd get one. Yeah, sorry. So he's referencing the Tower of Babel. What are some things that Moses says that God does at Babel, if you will?
Divides mankind and fixes borders between them.
Yeah. Divides mankind. He fixes their borders. We talked a little bit about two different translations. If you just read your translation, you either had, according to the sons of Israel or God, sons of God, either one. We talked a little bit about that. We're not going to get crazy deep into it. But there's a manuscript issue there. The earlier rendering is sons of God. So what he's saying here is that not only did God separate the people, divide them, their nations, and their languages, but it's implied that he also gave them over to these heavenly beings, these other spiritual entities, for them to worship and to be governed under. So they have their own land, they have their own language and people, and he gave them their own gods to be ruled over. Remember, they're trying to get to him anyway. They're building this tower to be like them, and God's like, all right, you really want him that bad? You can have him. So instead of me ruling over you, I'm going to give you over to these other deities that you were seeking. That makes sense then when we look at Genesis 12, because in Genesis 12, what character do we come upon? Abram. God says to Abram, go out from your father's land. I will give you what? Someone besides the Genesis guy. I appreciate the Genesis guy, but someone besides the Genesis guy. What is promised to Abraham after the battle of Then?
Homeland.
Hmm?
Homeland.
A place, so a land. Who's going to be in the land? His children. He's going to make you a great nation, and one big one. Through you, all the nations of the earth be blessed. Remember, God just divided the nations. Somehow through one family. Does that sound familiar? One family, Adam and Eve. One family, Noah. One family, Abraham. I'm going to bless all the nations that we just divided. Any questions about that so far? What Moses says here in Deuteronomy 32 and verse 9, but the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob his allotted heritage, implies God's over one nation, Israel. What is the implication of all the other nations? If God's allotted portion is Israel, what's an implication of all the other nations? Oh, they're under somebody else. That's what we want to investigate tonight, because I know you're thinking, this is far-fetched, this sounds weird. We ended last class on a cliffhanger. You already actually believe this. You just don't see it because we kind of told ourselves it doesn't exist. But once you start seeing this, it happens all over the Bible and you can't unsee it. So, trigger warning, if you want to keep seeing the Bible the way you've always seen it, you can leave now. This is like the Morpheus moment in the Matrix where pick the red pill or blue pill. You can do what you want. This is just, again, we're getting a biblical worldview, okay? This is speaking to a heavenly council. Anyone ever heard this before? A divine or heavenly council? Anybody heard that? Genesis guy, of course.
No, Job.
Job, that's what we're going to talk about. Again, this is probably the most obvious example that we just read over and never think about what it's saying. So let's turn to Job and chapter 1. Someone get for us Job 1, 6 through 12. Job 1, 6 through 12. Yes. Okay. This one time. I know because Genesis and Job.
Yeah.
Job 1, 6 through 12.
Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. Then the Lord said to Satan, "From where have you come?" Satan answered answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it." And the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil?" And Satan answered the Lord and said, "Does Job fear God for no reason? Have you not put a hedge around him and his house and all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. But stretch out your hand and touch all that he has, and he will curse you to your face." And the Lord said to Satan, "Behold, all that he has is in your hand. Only against him do not stretch out your hand." So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord.
I want to highlight verse 6 here. Now there was a day when the sons of what? God. It's the same B'nai Elohim we've seen back in Genesis 11, the same B'nai Elohim. Deuteronomy 32, God divided the nations according to B'nai Elohim, the sons of God. Here, very casually in Job, we have a scene of a heavenly council. God's just with his boys, and he's like, "What do y'all want to do today?" Figure name Satan. My translation gives an uppercase to his name. The Hebrew doesn't necessarily do that. It's just a figure named Satan. Could be like a lawyer type of dude. We don't really know. But either way, God's working with him, like he's in his council. And God gives him authority to go and sort of, I guess, torture Job. It's kind of a weird story. But again, how often have you read this story and just glanced over the fact that there are these creatures and beings with God, and it calls them sons of God? Have you ever thought about that? Again, this is so in plain sight that we kind of read it and just pass over it. But this is,
Sometimes the closest we get is, why is Satan
Right.
there allowed to talk to God? Like, that's kind of the closest
Yeah.
we've got.
like, what's going on there? But then we don't think, why, like, what are the other creatures? Right? So again, that's another thing is Satan. Like nobody really doubts that Satan's the thing, although he's a spiritual being that's given some kind of authority and power. And we're just like, anyway, moving on. But you know, it's another spiritual deity that's in this world that we just accept. Any questions or comments so far? I know it's easy to get caught in the Satan thing. Does anybody have a question or comment on that?
I mean, I've always assumed it was angels, right?
It's a good way to look at it. Angels, some kind of servants. And we get into like Ezekiel and the prophets, and they give all kinds of weird descriptions. Have you ever heard biblically accurate angels?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Facebook where it has like 1,000,000 eyes, and it's like, don't be afraid. You know, and the guy's like, of course. Right. We see that in the Bible, and then we just move on. We're like, nothing to see here. That's a heavenly council. Like, and the Bible unflinchingly says those things exist, and God moves them around. And we're like, nothing to see here. But again, that is stored in the back of our mind, and we just think they don't have any interaction. They have nothing to do. Questions or comments about that?
This is very much too deep for what we're talking about, but I was looking at the Lexham Hebrew Bible in the verse that we were talking about a second ago in Deuteronomy, and then here in Job, and in Deuteronomy it says the sons of El or Elohim, which is the words the sons of God.
Yep.
In Job it says the sons of God belonging to Yahweh.
Yep.
And so it's somehow defined separately.
Yep, that's right.
I think it's really interesting. I'm upper 50s, and this is the first time that I've actually had a study where it talked about.
This hit me 6 months ago, and I went to that and I was like, "Can you believe this?" And I'm with you.
Yeah.
45 years old, and this hit me like, "What? This is possible?"
Guys, this is a red. I'm telling you, this is a red pill moment. Okay, we said on Sunday this is going to be some beef jerky. All right, I mean it's really going to redefine the way you see the biblical narrative, which is why we want to talk about it. Because believe it or not, all of this vague, obscure academic stuff does have something to do with the gospel and you and me. We'll get there.
And I think maybe it was because people didn't want to approach the subject.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't know about it, so I'm not going to talk about it.
Right.
So they just kind of glossed over it.
Yeah.
So many times.
Yeah. And spoiler alert, there are going to be things that I don't know because the Bible just casually mentions it and then moves on. Do you think about Genesis 11 and all the explanation it gives? They built a big tower and God was like, and he divided them. And then he's like, moving on. You know what I mean? And there's just like a big gap and you're like, I guess that wasn't important. So they're a little like, it's almost breadcrumbs. It doesn't give us the full picture, just like an idea of what we need to move forward with the narrative.
I have a Parallel Plus on my phone. I can put like 6 or 7 different versions.
Yep.
And this is ERV, easy reading version. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
It could be something.
Okay.
Then the day came for the heavenly beings to meet with the Lord.
Yep.
Even Satan was there.
Oh, it says even Satan was there.
Even Satan was there.
He even got the invite.
Job 1:6.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a big thing with Job is that the big question is, what's the timeline here? Is this the same Satan we read about in the New Testament? Or is Satan just an adjective to describe its function, this heavenly being?
What is the timeline here?
That's a good question. Anybody want to tackle that? Remember the part where I said I wouldn't know all the answers? Anybody got that?
Well, the more
They say it's the oldest book.
the more conservative approach for Job is to consider Job to be one of the patriarchs.
Yes.
So somewhere after Genesis 11, but before Abraham's call in Genesis 12.
So weren't the Nephilim also called sons of God?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't get him started. I see him brewing. He's percolating.
I just had the feeling.
He's on low right now, but he's about to get low. I can tell. I feel the energy. I'm like, stop it. Leave the waters out of this. I know.
I got absolutely grilled for talking about this with the Nephilim in my
Yeah.
Genesis class. Oh, I got
Well,
I
we just won't tell downstairs we talked about it.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, so if you'll notice at the beginning of Job, where is the date in there? Somebody tell me where the date is?
Don't know.
Was that,
Job 43, first one.
really?
Job 43, this time.
I've been exposed.
Sorry, my bad.
Talk about the land of Uz.
Yep.
One of the first communities.
Yep, very much. Mesopotamian stuff.
If it talks about timeline.
Yep.
then we're
And the other evidence is that he offers sacrifices on behalf of his family, his children.
Yep.
Which is very patriarchal-ish.
Very much. Point being, it doesn't really give you, this is when, like, especially in the New Testament, it's like, remember when this king was ruling? It's between this time and that time, a specific date. Again, this is just one of those that's plopped. And we're like, we have no context of time. It's just, all right, I guess that happened. I don't know.
Almost as though the contents are timeless.
Oh. Maybe this first part of the patriarchal period, Genesis 1 through 11, is less about the time and more about what happens in it.
The moral.
The moral of the story, perhaps.
Sort of laying a foundation.
Perhaps a foundation for the rest of the book. All right, speaking of which, moving on, we get to, this is one that's really interesting to me. Let's look at Psalm 82. Look at Psalm 82. This is one that really blew my mind here. Psalm 82, and someone get it for us 1 through 8. Psalm 82, 1 through 8.
You mean the whole song?
Yes.
God has taken his place in the divine council. In the midst of the gods, he holds judgment. How long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? Give justice to the weak and the fatherless. Maintain the right of the afflicted and the destitute. Rescue the weak and the needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked. They have neither knowledge nor understanding. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. I said, you are gods, son of the Most High, all of you. Nevertheless, like men you shall die and fall like any prince. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for you shall inherit all the nations.
Thoughts?
Nephilim.
Seraphim, Nephilim, all the Eames. All the Eames.
Well, they're gods, they can die.
They're gods, they can die. Okay, anything else?
It's little g gods, not capitalized.
Little G's. Interestingly, at the end, arise, O God, judge the earth, for you shall what? All the nations. So back in Deuteronomy 32, Genesis 11, what and who is God's inheritance? Israel. Remember, the one nation. You got one Abraham, he's the guy, everybody else has all the other things. Eventually, when God judges these unfaithful deities, who will he inherit?
All nations.
Everybody else. Questions? All right. Take your time. Read through it. It's a lot. It is a lot.
And you can ask, how will they die? But then you can remember that death is a separation and that hell is prepared for the devil, his angels.
Interesting.
Eternal separation.
It is interesting at the end of the book that death and Hades is thrown into this lake of fire. It's done away with. Okay? Is digesting? I really, seriously, I want to make sure we're taking our time with this.
No, I'm throwing up. I'm not digesting.
Drink your electrolytes. Electrolytes are good. Yeah.
Get some toes.
Okay, is anybody completely lost right now? I seriously want to make sure we're not speaking. Yes. What's up?
No, I'm lost.
Okay. Okay. Which part?
All of it.
Okay, we'll come back.
Well, he hadn't been in any other classes, so he's.
This is a lot.
Okay, here's the simple version.
Here we go.
You know, we talk about angels all the time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This is just kind of hinting at what those spiritual beings may be responsible for behind the scenes.
Okay.
Pretty much it.
Okay.
I just want to say, I really appreciate him raising his hand and saying that.
Sure.
I appreciate that. Seriously,
Yeah.
the amount of podcast and material I've read to get to a point which is normal for me is insane. This is a lot to take in. It is. You're good. Which is, again, we talked about this Sunday morning. I wanted to double down Wednesday night because this is a lot to digest. Were we good? Any other questions? comments? So divine counsel, the Bible unflinchingly just starts out with, there is God, the Most High, and he's got people around him, agents and beings. One of the funniest examples that struck me that we all breeze past is the book of Isaiah. Isaiah gets called into this throne room, and there's like all kinds of crazy heavenly beings. And then a voice cries out, who will go for us? Here am I, Lord. Right? And we're just like singing it. We're like, burr, 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 burr. And like, there's a heavenly council, and they're deciding who like doing these things, and we just breeze past the council part. We're like, whatever, moving on.
There's a neat one in 1 Kings 22, which brings a lot of questions. So
Yes, we're going to get to some stuff as
Oh,
well. We are.
nice.
All right, so these gods. Oh, yes, sir.
So I'm just going ahead, and I'll try not to, but where he calls them gods,
Yes,
right? But he separates, like in instance, like where he takes off his shoes because the bush is burning.
Yes.
But there's a difference between God, Christ, the incarnate Christ, and an angel. And does that play into this in any aspect? Like,
How do you mean?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Okay.
Hey,
I think he's asking-
Genesis man. Don't you have reference to that in the creation in Genesis 1? Did you have
Yeah,
something to
you
share in that regard?
within the Trinity, or just like overall multiplicity of gods? What do you mean?
When the heavens are created,
Yeah.
does the Hebrew not sort of reflect the possibility of heavenly beings created
Oh,
to
yeah,
inhabit
definitely.
that?
So within the days of creation, you have the first 3 days where things are created sort of chaotically, and you have light, but nothing to hold the light back, nothing to keep it moving. And then on the counterpart day, which would be 4, God makes the sun and moon and stars and the host of them. And these hosts are set the responsibility to keep in check the things that were made, the chaotic things that were made no longer chaos. And so from the very beginning, you have host is what they're called, which later translations call those angels, but not in Genesis because it scared people. But it's the same word.
Are you speaking to a hierarchy?
Well, yeah, I mean, is there a difference in these little gods and angels? Are the angels gods, little gods? Or, like, I mean, I may be skipping ahead and, like, where, you know.
I don't know that that's parsed out as much as he wants to make sure that you understand the distinction between God, capital G, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and all of these other things.
Sure.
And the implication is that all of these other things are created. They may be spiritual in some way. And from a human perspective, they may be viewed as God's little g, but they are not deity in the
Yes.
ultimate
They're
sense.
spiritual entities, whatever that means.
So, I don't know if they said this
Yes.
just in a fancier way.
That's the implication
But,
of Genesis 1.
Do we maybe think that the little g gods could just mean people with high power?
It plays into the Old Testament pretty heavy. Yeah, there's some of that, but also they viewed like kings to be chosen by their deity. So in that way, they saw their king sometimes as the sun or the moon or a star or something like that.
What did you?
Which we will get
Pharaoh
to.
was a god, just so to speak.
Yeah.
Or at least a son.
The morning and evening star.
Which this is crazy, but again, you get to the New Testament and you have some demon possession, like we shared a story tonight.
Yep.
And so could it have been possible for some of the ancient pharaohs to have been at some point possessed by a demon and show and them to be?
That's what I said, I'm
viewed
not
as
skipping
gods?
ahead on the question.
Yep. It's good.
I'm sorry.
It's good. I want to take the time. More, did you have something? You're looking at me like you're.
There's like the commander
I don't.
of God's army,
Great
and
example.
Michael is given a certain position. Like there are certain angels
The one that plays music in heaven.
listed as like over other angels or
Yep.
something. So there had to be like regular angels and then commanders and then little G gods. And, you know, like,
There's certainly a hierarchy, and it gets
But it's hinted at, but like very few are named,
Very
or specified, or anything. It's just
Very,
very
very-
generic.
very vague, and even the descriptions of them, like Ezekiel. You know, Ezekiel's vision of the throne room and the chariot and the gods is like, it had 1 billion eyes. I mean, it's like saying heaven's got streets of gold. Is that literal, or is it like I just can't imagine what they look like? That's my brain trying to interpret something that's not real, like physically real enough to touch.
One thing that happens too with angels is, I think it's Daniel, where two different angels are fighting over a territory behind the scenes, and like nobody knows what's going on.
The Prince of Persia?
But they're fighting the war.
Yep.
The celestial bodies.
Yep.
And then like the people are just like waiting it out. Like, well, who's gonna win this thing?
Yeah, and then, he calls Michael. He's like, Prince of Persia's acting up. Michael's gonna go in there.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you go take care of this for me.
Yeah.
You know.
There's some depth to it. All right. So listen.
So is the Prince of America bombing Iran right now? Like,
I will say, Prince of Persia, great game. Not so great movie.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, Jake Gyllenhaal is awesome, but like, what are you gonna do? You can only do so much. You know.
Yeah, I know he's joking, but along those lines, Revelation, when it talks about the 7 churches of Asia, it talks about the 7 stars that are over them and that are guiding them.
yeah, we just ran. We just ran.
But again,
Alan kicked open the door and we just all came in.
but listen, can you all see how there's connections all around? Do what?
So is it like each individual like congregation gets an angel, or is it like a bishop over a region?
Bro.
Yeah, there's
There's different levels.
Right.
Can y'all understand how when you introduce this, your brain just starts making connections? Mine immediately went to the powers and principalities of the kingdom of this air. What are you talking about? Well, if they're given some authority, Christ is over them. Or when Jesus in the Great Commission, which we constantly read over, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me, right? We're always just like, well, yeah, earthly authority we get. What are you talking about heaven? Like, what are these spiritual beings that he's now like, they're my footstool? And then we see that play out in the book of Acts.
Dude, I feel like we just solved like the cure to cancer.
We didn't. We did not. We did not.
I feel like we just like Houdini. Pull down the drain.
No, this is again. This stuff has always been here. Like, this is not crazy theology. It's actually just reading the Bible at face value, like what it says. A couple of things before we dismiss. Deuteronomy 4:19, which we can go ahead and read that. Someone get Deuteronomy 4:19. You get an idea of what Moses says. Deuteronomy 4:19.
When you look to the heavens and see the sun, moon, and stars, all the stars in the sky, do not be led astray to bow and worship to them and serve them. The Lord your God has provided them for all people everywhere under heaven.
This is the prophet Moses.
ESV says host.
Host of heaven. Ooh, so the divine gathering, whatever it is, right? He's like, be careful looking at the stars too long, because you're going to be like, those are pretty nice. But he says those have been given for other people, the other nations, and I'm your God. It's hiding in plain sight. Like, and the Bible doesn't make any apologies. It's not like, well, we know. Like, it's just there. One more. This is kind of our base text for the class. Joshua 24.
Before you go any further, read 20 as well.
20.
So 19 again was, beware lest you raise your eyes to the heavens when you see the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the host of heaven, and be drawn away and bow down to them and serve them, things that the Lord your God has allotted to all the peoples under the whole heaven. But the Lord has taken you and brought you out of the iron furnace, out of Egypt, to be his own inheritance, as you are this day. So just to tie back into all the things we're talking about.
Sounds pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Something kind of connects. We'll end with Joshua 24. Somebody get Joshua 24 verses 14 and 15 rather. Joshua 24, 14 and 15.
Now therefore fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and faithfulness. Put away the gods that your fathers served beyond the river and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. And if it is evil in your eyes to serve the Lord, choose this day whom you will serve, whether the gods your fathers served in the region beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
Does it sound like they have legitimate options of gods to serve?
Yep.
It sounds like he's like, make a decision right now, like figure it out. Like there are gods back in Mesopotamia. If you want to serve the gods of your fathers, there's other ones over here, and we post this in our houses casually. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord, as if there was only one option. And the Bible's like, they had options, like, and it doesn't make an apology about it. It's not like,
oh, we know that these other imaginary beings.
it's like it's like a buffet, and it's like, pick your fighter, figure out who you want to go with. They really legit believe that these beings existed. And next time we'll get into a couple of examples where these beings actually had like real legitimate power in some way. And the Bible doesn't apologize for it. Questions or thoughts about that?
That's so cool.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Why is river capitalized? Talk about the Nile.
Euphrates.
Euphrates.
Yeah, so across the river. Yeah, which is Mesopotamia. Yeah.
So you're just gonna gloss over Job 38?
Yes. I am. Because we're out of time. Oh man.
We got 6 minutes.
It's another rabbit hole.
But if you haven't already, you can go ahead and read it.
Sure, go ahead. Whatever. I've lost control a long time ago.
Well, where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? On what were its bases sunk, or who laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Does that mean the heavenly hosts, these things were around before creation? Or at the time of creation?
During at the time. Yeah, it goes back to what Austin was referring to about they have responsibilities to care for the creation. And there's a parallel, not to get another rabbit hole, there's a parallel for the sons of Elohim. They have responsibilities, everything's in its place. And does God also give responsibility to the sons of man? Adam and Eve? Sure enough.
Not only that, but then at some points, and you may be headed this way, humans are also called sons of God.
Yep.
If they are doing godly things in godly ways, they can elevate to this point of being a son of God.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And don't miss this. The primary reason that they want to go their own way is to be like God. Right? So don't eat of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Why? It will make you like God, knowing good from evil. Okay? Why are you building this big old tower? I want to get to God. We'll make a name of ourselves, and I will reach God, and we will be like God. Spoiler alert, in the gospel, Christ not only delivers and saves us, he places us in the heavenly places. That's a wrap. Thanks for your time. All right.
Can you bring us a wrap?
Yeah.
No,
We'll work on it. Elohim.
It's about to get.
B'nai Elohim. All right, get out.